Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast. I'm Gaurav. Sawant. The radical Islamist organization Popular Front of India hit back. It organized a flash hartal. Vehicles were targeted, petrol bombs were hurled, a hartal was organized. Was this PFI's way of hitting back a day after a nationwide crackdown on this radical Islamist organization by the National Investigation Agency and the Enforcement Directorate? We bring you a detailed report that actually forced the Kerala High Court to take suo motu cognizance of the violence and say enough is enough.
Kollam, Thiruvananthapuram, Kochi, Coimbatore, different cities, one image. The PFI's protest against the arrest of its top leaders across India turned violent in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The cadre of the hardline Islamist outfit vandalizing state transport buses in Kerala's Kollam. Similar scenes were seen in state capital Thiruvananthapuram, where the PFI workers damaged vehicles.
I'm right now in Thiruvananthapuram and I'm inside a bus, a KSRTC bus which was attacked by PFI in the morning. The bus was on its regular journey in the morning and as per the driver, the 3 PFI workers came and asked the bus to be stopped, and once he slowed down the bus, these workers hurled large stones on the front glass of the bus, which is broken. You can see in the visuals, workers in various parts of the state, a lot of buses were stopped and a lot of bus drivers were also injured.
Vehicles were targeted in Kozhikode as well, where violence left many injured. One state transport driver was seen wearing a helmet inside the bus to protect himself from stone pelting. In Kochi, the workers of the outfit tried to close the shops but were detained by the cops. In Kottayam, 2 unidentified men threw stones at a restaurant. The BJP's Coimbatore office bore the brunt of violent protests in Tamil Nadu. A kerosene bomb was hurled at the office of the Saffron Party. The violence has sparked a political face-off in the state.
Without any prima facie, I don't think NIA will conduct searches and arrest people. Yesterday itself they have arrested hundreds of people. So we need to understand that this PFI and SDPI are doing something in the state of Tamil Nadu and Kerala.
Whatever they are accusing PFI of, the BJP, their own organizations are doing the same thing. Whether it's Bajrang Dal, whether it's so many of the Sangh Parivar affiliates, they are doing the same thing what PFI is doing. So in fact, their accusation against PFI can also be an accusation against the Sangh Parivar.
The Kerala High Court has initiated suo motu cognizance against the leaders of PFI for calling flash hartals in the state. Hartals were earlier banned by the court. The court said that immediate action should be taken against ongoing attacks. With Shibi Mole in Thiruvananthapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today now gets you details of the investigations, and some of these revelations will shock you. The NIA, National Investigation Agency, has accused this radical Islamist organization, the Popular Front of India, of not just radicalizing youth, but also encouraging them to join terrorist organizations like the Daesh or the Islamic State. Money was funneled through various organizations into the country. And what was the grand plan? To turn India into an Islamic state by 2047.
News is tightening around the Popular Front of India. A day after pan-India raids and more than 100 arrests, the National Investigation Agency has made sensational revelations. India Today has accessed the NIA's petition for transit remand for suspect Yasir Arafat submitted before a Bengaluru court. The investigation agency alleges the PFI has received foreign funds to aid terror. The NIA is accusing the PFI members of trying to radicalize Muslim youth and coercing them into join terror outfits like the ISIS. NIA sources tell India Today the GPS devices along with 2 wireless sets were recovered from one of the arrested accused, Barkatullah. The agency is conducting a detailed investigation into the matter as to where and how the PFI members were using these GPS devices. The NIA will be questioning 18 top leaders of the PFI separately. All of them will also be confronted face-to-face to verify their claims. The NIA wants to know details of funding, activities of PFI cadres, future plans and their association with terror outfits abroad. NIA sources tell India Today the PFI has launched several subsidiaries to take its agenda forward even if the Islamic outfit and its leaders are banned. It already has multiple wings like the Campus Front of India and SDPI. With Sagai Raj in Bengaluru and Jitendra Bahadur in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
106 PFI activists arrested from 93 different locations across 15 states. This, according to investigators, shows the rot runs deep. Cadre and supporters of the radical Islamist organization, the Popular Front of India, hit back with what many described was a show of strength, hurling a petrol bomb at the RSS office, pelting stones, blocking traffic, forcing shops to down their shutters. But is it high time this radical Islamist organization has its shutters down, perhaps forever? Joining me on India First is SP Vaid, former Director General of the Jammu and Kashmir Police, someone who's dealt directly with radical Islamist terror. Syed Abbas is a political analyst, as is Sanjeev Unyal. My first question is to Syed Abbas. The Phulwari Sharif document of PFI, Syed, it said convert India into an Islamic state by 2047. There is talk of taking to the streets in a show of strength to put the government on notice. Isn't this exactly what PFI cadre and supporters are doing today, sir?
The fact of the matter, Gaurav Saab, I look forward to your show is because it's nation first. Let me tell you, we need to understand here what is the motive, what is the modus operandi. India was a democratic country and it shall always be. In no way will it be any form of a Islamic Rashtra or a Hindu Rashtra. What do we need to understand here? These radicalized elements that we speak about, let me take the first opportunity and blame the Bharatiya Janata Party. 2014 manifesto, they said they will ban the PFI. 2019 manifesto, they will ban the PFI. Is Bharatiya Janata Party even being aware by the national investigation reports? Also the reports brought that IS terror links with the PFI. What are they doing? Why haven't they gone ahead and taken measures for banning them?
Good point. Let me take this to Sanjeev Unyal. Let me take this to Mr. Unyal. No, that's a fair point you raised, sir. Protests are a democratic right, sir. Why object to protests by PFI cadre and supporters if their leaders have been arrested and if this organization is as dangerous as the government would make it out to be? Why has it not been banned so far, Mr. Unyal?
Previously, these people used to say, Sawant, that why they are not taking any action against these anti-nationals, and when they have taken any action after collecting the evidences from last 7-8 years, they have collected each and every evidence that is to be corroborated during the interrogation, and when they will come in the witness box, then they are again saying this action should not be taken, why they have not taken this action before. So it's very hypocrisy of these people. You will come to know what PFI is exactly in 2 or 3 sentences. I'll tell you, these were the persons who chopped the hands of Professor Joseph, although he was never belonged. He was a communist man. And what they did, because he has given some lesson in the educational background, to that something told about that anti-Muslim. So they have chopped the hands of Professor Joseph. And Indian Muhajuddin has total links with it. And moreover, Kacheri blast, Lucknow blast, Sheetla Mata Vyas, Dasha Meshas blast, Gorakhpur blast, Sankat Mochar blast, Jaipur blast, Ahmedabad blast, Bombay local train blast, 229.
Sir, some of these activities took place in 2005, 2006. Fair enough, the professor's hands were chopped off in 2010. Now this is 2022. The wheels of justice are moving rather slowly, that would indicate, but let me bring this question to Mr. Ved. Sir, you've directly dealt with radical Islamist terror in Jammu and Kashmir. Is there merit in the criticism that actions against the Popular Front of India, action against PFI, is politically motivated? Mr. Ved.
I don't think. In fact, Gaurav, I personally feel already the action was delayed, and such a radical organization should have, when it was spreading its tentacles from Kerala, where it started, it should have been nipped into the bud right then and there. You just can't afford such a radical organization which wants to bring the Taliban type of hardline Islam in India, brainwash the young boys, how to make an ID, how to make bomb, radicalize them, show them emotional videos, look at its Fulwari Sharif's document,
yes,
how it wants to convert India into Islamic state. Now, I think such organization should be dealt with a very heavy hand. It is just a facade. Popular Front of India, Campus Front of India. These are all facades. So that when you take action, when India takes action, the countries across the world feel that, see, there is no, then youth propagandas, they start their business that in India there is no freedom, no democracy, and all those bloody things. I think today's violence should be dealt with very, very heavy hand. Those who have lobbed petrol bombs and burned the public property. Very rightly, the Honorable High Court of Kerala has taken notice of it. And I think these people should be dealt with under law with a stern hand.
Unfortunately, in some instances in the past, there's been political patronage, and Syed Abbas, that's the cause for concern. Why would some intellectuals give cover fire to such a radical Islamist organization that's actually seen as Taliban in India? They are an offshoot of a banned Islamist organization, Students Islamic Movement of India, or SIMI, and there is a long history of violent crimes. You know, Mr. Unyal was just talking about chopping off the professor's hand. That happened in 2010, and this organization is growing from strength to strength till 2022. Why defend such a radical Islamist organization, sir?
Gaurav sir, I'm very glad that you mentioned that you find some of the intellectuals who are supporting them. Let me address this, Sahab, on Nation First. These are not intellectuals, sir. These are pseudo-intellectuals. And you're absolutely right about one point, and so is Ved Sahab. What do we see here? There's a lot of politics involved. Why did not the BJP ban the PFI yet? Sir, I have numbers to show you. Here in Karnataka, the PFI, SDPI, the political arm, eats into the vote bank of Congress. Therefore, that is why they are being kept alive here with respect to the state. Lot of politics here. There is the national interest. One important point, Gaurav Saab, what do we understand with respect to the PFI, SDPI, CFI? Kids are being used in the rallies. Not just that, professors hand chopped, terror IS links. But what is the government in power doing? The gentleman was right, deal them with iron hands, iron fist.
Okay.
That is the way to answer with terror and nothing else. No compromise whatsoever, sir. And the final point I'd like to submit to you is those who come into such form of support are definitely not intellectuals, sir. They're pseudo-intellectuals with their own respective mind. Keep politics aside. That's the way to go.
Sir, good point you make. Keep politics aside, because this is an interest of national security. Mr. Unyal,
absolutely,
if
sir,
the PFI was involved in radical Islamist terror, as you point out, chopping off a professor's hand in 2010, or organizing terror training camps that led to the conviction of 21 people in 2016, the question remains, does it take a decade and a quarter to gather information and intelligence and prosecutable evidence, or, as Syed Abbas says, it suits people politically to keep such elements in society?
Absolutely.
Sawant, being an advocate, I have seen in number of times what happened. A culprit has been booked under certain sections. But when trial goes on, then he comes in the witness box, then there is no evidence in the police and prosecution. So he has been left out and case has been scrapped. So this should not be happen if a good police, good prosecution collects first of all each and everything. So I think they have done very good homework this time. Whatsoever I know little bit about the evidences part, because being an advocate, so I know that this is a complete cumbersome, it's a long process.
Okay.
So that long process of 8, 10, 11 years has taken place because after 2014, Shasanam Dandain government came into the picture. And as far as this person is saying, Intellectual Property Act is not a person who is always against the anti-Indians, anti-nationals. If you are standing with anti-national, it means a lot of money is coming. As far as it is concerned, lot of transactions is there on the records. The time will come.
That needs to be proven. We're a democracy and a very vibrant democracy. All of this, all of what you're saying needs to be proven in a court of law. You're an officer of the court yourself. You're an advocate. Evidence that will convince the courts to convict them. And Mr. Ved, if they were involved in the Delhi riots, and that's a very grave charge that was leveled, if they were involved in trying to foment trouble in Uttar Pradesh, communal situation in Uttar Pradesh, a request was made to ban this organization in 2020 by multiple state governments. Sir, is this action too little and too late? Because by now, this organization should already have been banned. In 2 years, they've actually grown and spread to multiple states.
Gaurav, to very large extent, I agree with you. In fact, it is already a lot of leeways has been given to this organization, and it has taken advantage of all this. Unfortunately, in India, politics takes its part even in organizations like this, which threaten countries' security, internal security, and mere banning was not the solution. You banned Simi, what happened? You came out with Indian Mujahideen, then banned Indian Mujahideen, what happened? All those cadres joined here. And
so what's the solution? That's a very important point to make. What's the solution?
Yes, the solution is go for a very detailed investigation. Let it take time. Go for evidence collection, in coordinated action. You have external and internal intelligence on board. Get as much data about it, where are this funding is coming for it, which organization, whether it is Syria, whether it's China, whether it's Middle East, which countries, from which sources this money is coming and how is it coming, who is funding it, Zakat kahan se aa rahi hai, and then where this money, is it coming through legal channel or is it coming through other Hawala and other channels, and how is it this money being spent? Now all this is a painstaking investigation. And how this organization is radicalizing youth, giving them training, how is it using to bring in hardcore radical Islam. Now all those need to be proved in the court of law. Ultimately, just banning is not a solution.
You're absolutely right. But, you know, how do you deal with this mindset? Because it's the same elements who will one day stand in support of people who want to wear a hijab, and in the garb of a hijab actually wear a burqa to an educational institution. And Sayyid Abbas, this is where people of this country need to wake up. They need to realize, and if you read that Phulwari Sharif document that talks about making India an Islamic state by 2047, this is exactly the template. Whether it is anti-CA riots or that burqa agitation or whatever else, you know, they may want to do the hijab agitation, pick up issues like this to foment trouble in society. Sir, we have to be very clear. Such elements need to be dealt with an iron hand. Sayyid Abbas.
Yeah, absolutely, Gaurav Saab. That's previously what I said. This India is a beautiful democracy, and no power, no radical outfit can even change one leaf out of the constitution. Let me address what Ved Saab said. Ved Saab made a very good point. Mere banning is not enough. Many of the BJP spokespersons have said, Simi ko ban kiya, kya hua? They took form of PFI. The fact is, Gaurav Saab, I'm going to make a very controversial statement here. Every time weed grows on the land of India, our motherland, we need to uproot the weed from the roots. That is the way to go. Absolutely zero tolerance when it comes to the national interest.
Okay.
We need to understand here, and the Bharatiya Janata Party needs to understand, only because it eats into the vote bank of a Congress or other opposition.
But that's the time you need to rise above vote bank politics. Let's see if action is taken, how many political parties actually stand in support, either directly or indirectly, Mr. Unyal, with these radical Islamist organizations in the name of minority rights, because very clearly a distinction needs to be made. PFI and such organizations do not represent the minority in our country. They represent the radical fringe, Mr. Unyal.
Absolutely.
I'll quote 2-3 examples globally. Uyghur Muslims,
Yes.
the condition of Uyghur Muslims in China is miserable. Everyone knows. UN report of August 2022 speaks volume about how criminalized they were against Uyghur Muslims, but no one speaks about them.
Yes.
I am surprised. Now we'll come at India again. I'll say who was Abdur Rahman, who was Abu Bakr,
Yes.
who was Koya. They were the person, this government when come into the picture, when they have taken on the thumping majority, they changed the law. Instead of booking the organizations, let it be SIMI. SIMI has been transferred to SDF. Then again it has been transferred to PFI. So what happened? Organization changed, the SIMI closed. So it was going on continuously. What this government has done, they amended the criminal law. Now the persons who were involved like Koya, who were involved like Abdul Rahman and Abu Bakr, they have been booked specifically. So
Fair
you
enough.
cannot change the organization.
One point to add,
I'll tell you.
the Pakistan
Fair
former
enough.
Prime Minister
I
Imran
will
Khan
track-
is the biggest hypocrite, Gaurav
I
Saab.
will track
I'll
the
tell you
story
why.
very closely. I've run out of time on this part of the show, but you know, Mr. Vaid, Syed Abbas and Mr. Unyal for joining me on this India Today special. Many thanks. That's a very pertinent point that's made. They may change the organization, but elements may remain. The fact remains, these individuals need to be jailed after giving evidence in courts of law, and the organizations need to be banned. We'll be tracking that story very closely.